Hey, this is George.
Hey, this is Fred.
Mr. Real Talk with George and Frazier. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Nothing much, brother. Doing fun, having a blast. It is
Having a
Friday.
blast? Yeah, today is definitely Friday. It's definitely
Yeah,
funny. Yesterday was all warm. Now it's cooled down a little bit. We down to like a 60, 64, 63 degrees, something like that,
look at
man. It's
you. I
crazy.
see you on that balling. Not to mention the show that like got you heat up too. So you better hold on. I don't know too hot here.
Oh, yeah.
Call
No,
too hot.
definitely all good. Listen, man, we got a banger today, as always. We always say that and we always deliver.
Always.
And today we have a guest called Sounds by Eye.
Yeah, make sure you say all together now, okay?
Sounds by Eye. Is that how you say?
Yeah, it's together. I mean, hey, I'm gonna get beat up for it. So we're gonna say it right this time on the show.
Okay, well, you say it. Then I'm gonna bring him into the show, and then he can say it correctly because we both butcher that.
Well, you did a good job of it too.
Oh, I did a good job. All right, then let me just bring him in the show. Hey, welcome to Real Talk. How are you?
I'm doing all right, yo. Yep.
Good, brother.
EYE.
All
There
right.
you
See,
go. See.
Sounds by EYA. All right. Well, I
Like it.
appreciate you correcting us. Definitely, we want to make sure that we get that correct and right.
Absolutely. What's going on?
Everything is good. Thank you for being on the show. Greatly appreciate it. Tell the fans a little bit about your background and your bio.
Okay, so my name is Soundsbyeye. I'm a singer, MC, songwriter based out of LA. Former foster youth. I grew up all throughout the United States, mostly in LA, born in New York. Lived in San Francisco as well. So I've lived all around. And I put a lot of that story into my music. So I do that. I have an apparel company called I Can Apparel, which is what I'm wearing right now, as
Nice.
well as a graphic design company called Think 21st. So I'm always grinding, always hustling, but my career ambition is to be in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. So, I'm
Nice.
kind of working on that on different ends. I'm not just a like.
Absolutely. Well, let
Nice.
me ask you. You're an entrepreneur on multiple businesses, but a lot of those businesses do connect, like graphic design works for music because you can do CD covers and all the graphics that you need for your videos and things of that nature. But you can also do the graphic design for your clothing through CAD
Yeah.
design and everything else like that. So that seems like an obvious match, the way that you have it set up. But let me ask you the question because clothing industry can be very, very, very competitive and very hard. In other words, it
Yeah.
can be very capital intensive between getting your product designs out, shopping that, trying to get it into the stores, going to the big shows, whether it's in New York or Vegas, to have your clothing line set up. How is that working for you, or are you just promoting your line through your music?
Yeah, so I've basically been doing it through my music more so. I have about 80 songs out currently. So that's kind of building up the persona and the brand. Um, but also been doing a lot of, promotions, advertising. At some point, I'll start going to trade shows and things like that. So it's a step-by-step process and to kind of have like an outline of the different points in which I'm trying to, elevate the brand. But right now, I currently have a lot of different items, and I have a small amount of inventory that I keep on hand, like the hats and a few other things. But like the jerseys, I got like
Nice.
football jerseys. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are you doing drop shipment for that, or are you just? Oh, nice. That's nice.
Nice. I like that one. You saw that, George? That was nice.
That's
Yes,
nice.
sir.
I like that one, George. Better get one.
Nice.
I
Yeah, we
like
got a
that.
few on the site. So there's a few like this, but the majority is drop shipping. Yeah, a lot of it, and the products are coming out really nice. A lot of people have been purchasing them, and a lot, through Clubhouse. It's been a great way
Nice.
to connect with people. It's funny you find out it gives you a lot more access to like people and like what their ability, what their like their ability to support, and and you see people on different ends, different parts of the country. I really love it a lot. So yeah.
Definitely, you're right about that. That's one of the best thing I like about an outlet. You have a great outlet through different people you may not normally see, or you ever get a chance to get to know, and you can reach to Clubhouse is amazing, man. There's some people you meet on there and help you out. and they're very supportive. You're right, they're very supportive of your shows and clothing line, whatever part you have.
Whatever it is you're doing, yeah.
I
Let
love
me
it.
ask you, as far as music, because you said you had over 80 songs out already. Do you have
Right.
your own publishing company that you're putting your music under? Because you can also, I'm sure as you know, use your publishing company to submit music for other writers as well too. Are you grinding doing that, or is it just with your music, the clothing line, the graphic companies, everything is just really a lot for you?
Yeah, so currently I'm self-published through TuneCore. TuneCore has a publishing administration, which I
Right.
use. So I just registered it through that and through BMI. But yeah, they're great. I think
Nice.
DistroKid might come out with a publisher. If they come out with a publisher, I would love to jump on that one.
Okay.
Nice. So, do you find it harder, to do it more cost efficient to do it independent, or try to reach out to a label and actually sign with a label versus stay independent?
Yeah, I mean, at this moment, you're building leverage, right? So the best way to do that is demonstration of the proof of the product, right? So
Exactly.
currently building that, building up my database, building up the demographic information. I have a lot of different songs, so my overall, in the long run, like my data points will be a little bit more like complex because I have a lot of different types of sounds. So some songs are like, for different audiences. So still learning and still building that. But I went to school for music industry, so that was actually pretty beneficial. So
Nice.
I think working with a label would be more so like working with maybe an individual artist from a label. But I don't think I would ever really want to put any of my ownership over, into the hands of like a label, really. Or I think maybe a publishing company. I would do
Right.
like a publishing deal with Cobalt or someone like them. Once they realize I got the pen and they see the proof of the product, then they'll be like, okay, but things like that. I want to have more leverage, and by having
Absolutely.
companies, I'm able to balance and not be just a pure artist who needs a deal.
No, absolutely. So let me ask you, even with that, when you're talking about leverage, a lot of artists only think of it as the music aspect of it and writing a song. But I think where a lot of artists, even artists that we've had on the show, where they miss a few things is the fact that you could also get into the jingle business and the commercial business. You know what I mean? Because it's music and they're a lot shorter, between 20-second commercials, 15-second commercials, 30-second commercials. And, it's moving so fast that a lot of people look to music, whether it's dance, house, disco, rap, hip hop, you name it, for jingles. And they want to be able to find these type of products that they can get either for free through a service, or they can get where they're not paying that major money like you would pay to a Jay-Z or you would pay to a Nas to do a 15-second slot for you.
Exactly.
But it's popping. And I noticed that a lot of times internet companies, new businesses like myself, new authors, people who don't have a lot of cash will look for those outlets and try to get a name to say, okay, I want this person to do my spot for me, or I want that. Is that something that you looked into?
Not as much, but I mean, you're kind of like giving me that information. I'm not kind of learning a little bit about that, because I've been hearing, like, I do jingles, or I do, sound effects, and I do stuff like that for fun. But I could see it being really profitable, and working with artists like that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, true. You also gonna do sweepers too for radio stations. They always look for new type of sweepers, new type of new thing to intro to come in with, especially certain shows. They pay a lot of money for intros, especially custom intros to fit their show. Look at what else? I mean,
Hey,
Tony.
even our podcast, we need intros and outros for our
Hey,
podcast.
there you
That's
go,
right.
see? There you go. See, there you go.
Yep. Proof of product. There you go.
Well, definitely. But I mean, of course, I thought one song you had on there that is with who. I mean, if I did it, what was the inspiration for that song? I've heard plenty of people mention it in the lyrics, but never made a whole song named Who.
Yeah, so that's a a fun experiment in the process. So the Who interlude where I literally just say who. It's actually funny. I forgot I even released that because the homegirl has that song Who.
Yeah.
So I actually need to send that to her. That's funny. No, those are like those are like kind of spoof songs that I'm gonna be eventually dropping like real songs to.
Gotcha.
But yeah, those are fun. Those I have like basically I have a song that's like who, what, when, where, why, how. Yeah, I got
Perfect. Yeah.
What?
You just made a commercial that fast. You made a commercial just that fast, but just don't think because like I know a lot of clothing line need it, a lot of other stations use it. You know, so
Praise, is that you?
yeah. I apologize for that. That's people calling that. Oh,
That's
apologize for
crazy,
that.
Praise. Praise, don't you know we on a podcast, man?
Hey, people calling me. I don't know why they calling me. It's a business thing. Hey, what you doing? I'm working.
Man, please tell them to call you back. We got this show we got to do. We apologize for that.
Exactly. So on that aspect. So, like, have you like we talked about commercial stuff like whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
so what are other aspects that you plan on taking into with your music and clothing line? Like, actually, I know some people say easier to drop clothing line overseas first versus then we bring it back to the states once you get a big buzz in Europe because Europe known in fashion. They love new things, and they
Yeah,
put
Europe and Asia, not to cut you off, Europe and Asia are known for fashion, for U.S. fashion and U.S. Teen culture, whether it's hip hop, whether it's something. They'll jump on that quick before the
exactly.
American market because the American market is really super saturated with that.
Exactly. And plus, you add a little music to it, make a commercial with it, send over there. I guarantee you, you probably see a sale growth in like 20% less than 6 months. Probably more than probably that's probably the rough estimate, but probably more than that because they love new stuff. They love being the first.
Right.
Put first in front of it every time you say it.
That's absolutely true. And I mean, I've been seeing a little bit of that too, a little activity out there, in Europe, a little Sweden.
Yeah, because I know some artists there's a lot of indie artists now going over to Europe now and actually starting buzz over there first and then coming back to the States once they got the buzz in Europe and be on the charts in Europe. Because it's not saying easy to do it, but they're more substantial to new things. They love new
And
things.
it's more economical, not to cut you off, because money's
Yeah.
money, whether you're making money here in the United States or you're making money overseas. One of the biggest problems that a lot of business people, whether you're coaching, consulting, or you're selling a product, is everybody wants to be US famous. Nobody takes in consideration that $100,000 that you made, whether it's from Japanese yen converted to US dollars, is still $100,000. You see what I'm saying? And everybody just drives and drives and drives for a US market, but there are a lot of people that are superstars and killing it in smaller markets that are in smaller niches, and they just keep it fresh. You see what I mean? Markets like Brazil, markets like you name it, South Africa, they're killing it because
Singapore.
it has
Singapore now.
it has a US name to it. And as long as it's a US based company, it'll get a lot more traction.
Oh yeah, Singapore, India are picking up a lot of stuff now. You got small countries in the Philippines
Yes.
picking up American music. You got a company to take China off. China, Tokyo now getting more into it now. I mean, you got so market now is freaking overswam with music. So I
Right.
mean, you can do it anywhere. Now, my saying that and knowing that part of it is like you have other plans to branch out more as a
Globally.
own company versus trying to find a public company, maybe open your own public company, maybe start overseas and come back in, or look for other artists to come on board with you and market
Right.
it well.
Absolutely. No, I mean, like the same can be said about when you're doing music and touring. I've seen a lot of people go tour in Paris and different parts of
Yes.
of Europe, and like I'm like, how'd you do that? Or like, they wanted us to come. It was like not even like a full tour. They might even just do a couple shows just because,
Exactly.
So I think it's definitely one of those things that's possible. And now that we're talking about it, kind of adds to the horizon of things. Like I like this conversation. It's giving me a couple ideas. I like these questions.
That's
Well, yeah,
good.
let us know, because we're
Let's
not just saying it because we're throwing it out there. We have contacts now in South Africa, we have contacts in Europe and a few
yep.
other things. And, it's about growth. It's about giving back. It's about making sure that the right product gets to where it's going to go. Because like Frazier and I have always said, all this stuff that we're sharing is just knowledge. If
Exactly.
we keep it with us, it doesn't help anybody in our community, anybody in our ecosphere. You see what I'm saying? And somebody who's motivated like you to make it happen and, basically have pulled yourself up from your own bootstraps and wants to make it happen
Exactly.
should be able to know that you have all those options out there to be able to make it happen and not just say, oh, well, I don't know how, or it might be just a little bit too difficult. Because from your life story and what you've done, I got the impression that you've been through some things that Frazier and I couldn't even begin to imagine, and you're
Exactly.
still here standing, grinding, kicking, and moving. That being said, I wanted to transition a little bit into your music. Um, how was you said your background and your life influences your music. Um, what are some of your situations that you've been through that you put into your music?
Um, it's different. So my father, he died when I was really young. So that's and I didn't know until I was 24.
Hmm.
So I kind of wondered for like a long time what happened, and I feel like a lot of that goes into the music. Um, my mother's illness as a child, and just not having her around, moving around a lot throughout the foster care system, living in New Orleans, Florida, San Francisco, LA, all throughout LA. Um, just being raised in multiple households and having like 10 plus different guardians. So that's definitely been a part of the music as well. Learning different cultures and different backgrounds and different situations, different economic classes, going from living in the projects in Pasadena to going to USC, and you know the differences between the people that I encountered and learning, just that part of the growth. So that's all in the music, but it makes it relatable. So that way, I feel like I try to paint it in a way that's simple enough where there's detail and simplicity, and people get a chance to understand what I'm going through their own version of, you know, through their own version. If they hear certain lyrics that resonate with them, they do it in their own way. So
Right, right.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're very, very, very rounded, that you can basically sit down with anybody and have a conversation because you've lived in a lot of those situations and you've lived in a lot of those communities and those cultural classes, which is awesome because
Nice.
you have insight that maybe Fraser and I don't have. You know what I mean? That you can relate to and be able to communicate with. That being said, um, how are you reaching out to other kids who are in the foster system, or do you have kids that reach out to you who've been in the foster system that know your story?
so I work with a program called Journey House in the past few years, that has helped a lot, especially transitioning out of college. It's a small unit, but they're very effective. They've got laws changed for the foster care system, enabling foster kids to go to uh, get their MSW, things like that for free in California, things like
Mhm.
that. Extending the Chafee grant, which is a grant that gives foster kids money in college, extending that age limit. There's a few other things, but I've worked with them a little bit. I've been a public speaker for a long time.
Nice.
Before
Nice.
COVID, I was definitely invited to go speak and talk to different groups of youth. And I also work at the Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory, which was where I have my radio show, I Can Radio, which is every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific. And I interview a lot of artists as well. And that program, I'm on the board for that program, the Arts Conservatory. I'm the youngest member on the board. which is great. And I get to kind of, be a part of that and work with those kids and get to inspire them. And I have direct relationships with a lot of them.
Nice.
Working with the venue that was upstairs before COVID as well. So there was a lot going on in that building, and we got to, connect with that community as well. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, it definitely is hard sometimes, being you and having to deal with your own struggle and things like that. But I try to give back in ways, whether it be like when I do eBay, I try to give like a percentage of my profits away, things like that,
Nice.
Nice.
Now, do you have a support system in place for some of those hard times that you were talking about? Dealing with communities and groups that you can lean on for support.
Yeah, I definitely think I do. At this point, there's definitely people I can call in the local area that I'm able to reach out to. I do have a couple cousins out here as well, but people that are like in the system that can actually do something about my situation. Yeah, there's a couple people, a couple groups. Journey House is one of them. Journey House is probably the most effective one. Like if I'm in a tight squeeze, I can go reach out to them and they can help me figure something out. And they've done that a few times. It's pretty much helped me propel me to where I'm at now, so where I'm like at least somewhat stable. And I was able to capitalize off the pandemic and get my unemployment and things like that. So that's been helping help me out as well. But I've been able to use that to start some business, increase my business, and also invest as well. So
right.
Nice.
What are you investing in right now? What are you looking to invest in? I'm just curious.
So I created a stock portfolio of 90 different dividend stocks, dividend growth investment stocks. I'm a value investor. I don't really pay attention to the day trading, but I have cryptocurrency. I also do. I did start a Roth IRA this year as well, which I learned about. I can't believe I didn't know about that before. I'm 10 years later.
Yeah.
But now that I know about it, I'm over here telling all my friends, like, bro, start a Roth IRA. And most of them are like, day trade, money. Look at all this money out here. It's the pandemic, da 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 da. But I'm like, that ain't gonna do nothing. Ain't gonna do nothing. But I'm like, bro, like, trust me, Roth IRA. Trust me. Started.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know. I mean, that's one of the secrets that businessmen know. All right, every businessman in the world know about Wrath. Everyone. You can't name one don't know about it. Who makes over 6-8 figures don't know about a Wrath.
Who make 5 figures don't know about a Roth IRA. Believe me when I tell you, because every little bit helps, and you're not looking at one particular source like you're doing with your investing in your portfolio. You're diversifying your portfolio from what it sounds like, and you're looking down the future and saying, hey, all of this is going to compound to a climax down the future. So while all these day traders are here and they're doing this and they're hitting all these big numbers, you also have to remember that these guys are going to be paying some real heavy taxes, out of those numbers.
Watching a video on that. Yep.
Right. So it's not really worth all the stress. When you're out at dinner, you're always looking if your trade hit or where you are on the high or low. You know what I mean? Like you can't rest because you always got money on the line.
Exactly.
So that's why I don't.
Man, don't get me started, especially with the Forex thing that came up.
Forex headaches. That's a headache, man.
You be on Clubhouse. I'm a digital entrepreneur. I was retired at 21. You want to hire your hire your phone, fire your boss.
I mean, your phone already does as much as it is when you got to call everybody, you got to do everything phone. Your phone probably tired of hearing that phone.
That's the thing that this pandemic bred that's not healthy is this whole MLM pandemic, scandemic thing. Like, but if you look at the numbers on like who makes the money, it's literally just the top 10%, and then it like under it, everybody's making like nothing, like less than $500 a year.
Exactly. I mean, it's a tedious process. You got to study the market. You got to research what companies are going up, what companies are going down, and you got to stay ahead of everybody else. You got to find new companies that actually potential long-term investments. So you got to start playing on that end too, and that's really a headache. You
right, and if you're gonna do that, you might as well swing trade. You might as well just kind of like focus on one or two stocks or one or two, pretty much. I mean, we wouldn't swing trade with crypto, but yeah, with stocks, I mean, you can swing trade with crypto a little bit, but you have to be experienced. It's not even worth it. I'm barely looking into options. Like that's gonna be cool once I understand those a little more and have the money to put down on the option. I can like actually make it profitable because I do end up having good foresight on a lot of companies, which I'm able to buy out a little bit ahead of time. Like a couple of plug was a good one. There's a couple other ones. I'm not a financial advisor.
Exactly. Well,
neither are we.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you now. The better thing to learn is called a split. A lot of big companies in trade do a splits. You gotta know when they do the splits. Because when they do a split, that's to a $5,000 stock now goes to $500 stock. So now you more managers to buy into it. And like already, they give you double the stock because you already had before they did a split. So not only you get one stock, now you got two. And some even give you four, depending on where you at and when you invest in. If you got 7 to 10 stock shares, they give you more. The more you have, the more they give you in a split. Yeah, and then on top of that, they give you the first opportunity to buy into the split first before anybody else, the public, get hold to it. So I mean, it's a great thing to stay on top of that part also in investment. Now I learned that too, but somebody else learned options. As I learned that one. So I learned that one too.
Interesting that you say that options. So you mean if you do an option and it splits, let's say you do a put and it's at 5,000 and it goes to 1,000 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Does that mean that does that count in the option, or does the put change because the split happened?
It will change. It will change because what happened is
okay. That's what I was thinking. I was like, damn, that's funny as hell. Like if somebody
it will change.
That would be the ultimate hack of all time. Like to be like, oh, Apple's doing a split. Let me buy a put option.
That's what you do it though. The thing you put a put in, remember you gotta do this because you do put in, but you gotta wait a little bit. Once you do the split, it takes about maybe 2 or 3 weeks. It's gonna go back up automatically. And you to go back 2 or 3 weeks, go back up to at least 400.
Right to where it was.
More than that. So you put a put in for $400, but you put in for 6 months. So it grabs 6 months. You see what I'm saying? Because if you don't do it that way, then you lose. And then what you do
I get you. So it goes around. So that way when it's on its way back up, it'll meet you right there where you thought it was gonna go anyway.
Exactly.
So it's not like it went down, it went up, but it went up in a
different way.
That's deep. Okay, that's tricky, but that's interesting.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Like that.
Okay, that's what I would say. When you're doing the research on it, it's real tricky because you gotta be able to catch it when it does it. Like most people all day long, if you don't catch it, he did a split. Like people at Apple, he did a split. Some people lost because they wasn't aware of when you do a put because now they split it. And say
you should just buy it. Just keep buying it, man. Just keep buying it.
Well, see, it's a good thing too, though. If you do the opposite and you put down on it, so guess what? When it split, it goes down. You make money. When you put in, now it goes back up. You make money.
Right.
You make money in different ways. You make it one twice.
You see what I'm saying? Either way.
Exactly. That's why a split is good for some people and bad for other people.
That's right.
Yeah. For me, I would just want the split just so I can build my ownership of shares, my share count.
Exactly.
So I get higher dividends.
Exactly what you do. Say everything like Bradford something company is $56,000. I think 5,000 a share, right? If they do a split, and say you have one share of that, now you got 2 shares. So now you're looking at when it goes back up, which it goes back up, very quickly. That 2 shares now just double your money.
Right.
Doubles your money. So now you got $10,000 versus that $5,000 you had before. And we buy into it while it's low, buy another 2 stocks, that triples too.
Right.
You just pay almost 30 grand in no time in one split. That's how some people do it. They did it with Apple, they did it with Tesla, they did it and a few other companies start doing it again. So that's why I say you watch a lot of the big companies, because a lot of what they do is it kill with tax time too. So a tax time when they do a split is middle before tax season coming in and either after tax season because they're trying to get that tax break.
Right.
That split and get that tax break. Cut it in half. So now they would have paid almost $10,000 of taxes. Now
And
they
now
only
pay
pay $5,000.
Right.
So you saying that a lot of splits happen during tax season?
Yeah.
Usually because that's why they needed to save money at. Or that's the same time where you see a lot of donations happen.
Right.
Like we had a lot of
True.
foundations or whatever. They would donate more money during a week before, a month before tax time. Because they
Man,
want
talk about it. Talk about it. That's one thing I've seen a lot of in the foster care system.
Exactly. Because you gotta remember, most big companies need PR. They need that PR. So what they do is they go to places where they need them more foster care, urban neighborhood, definitely, youth centers,
Yeah.
women empowerment communities, they
Anything where you can get
any
some
youth,
good publicity,
any
and
good
you can
publicity.
also get the tax write-off, and
Exactly.
you get a 2 for when it comes to that. So it's definitely all good. Listen,
Exactly.
I'm sorry we drifted off a little bit about business and investing, but
Yeah, that's
I
how
know
it goes.
I know our time is short. Listen, can you give some people looking to get into the graphic design or music industry some tips?
That's a lot. That's a very vague question.
All right, then. So let's say I want to get into the graphic design industry. What tips should I be looking for?
Okay, so if you want to get into graphic design, definitely look into different programs, Adobe. Basically, look up courses. YouTube's good for watching. I mean, you can learn pretty much anything on YouTube. Look into the principles of graphic design. Make sure that you build a standard with your design work. Um, Consistency is key,
Right.
and practicing, and you have, and less is more. I would say less is more.
Right.
So those are my tips for like a new designer.
Exactly. So let me ask a question though. You say you went to school for music production, right? Some of the indie artists coming out now. Is that a benefit to them? The pros and cons to go to school to learn industry through school, or learn their best way through YouTube, whatever. And what tips you
Yeah.
have for schools?
So I would say it depends on the school. So I went to SC. That was the #1 music industry program. So that one at NYU kind of battled it out for the #1 like industry program in the country. But that also comes with the connections. And so the connections are everything in the industry. I didn't go to school so I can get a job. I got to school to build my skill set and build my connections.
Nice.
So,
Exactly.
and that's why I was there. And I built a lot of connections there. So I would say it's worth it. You just have to go to the right school. Like if you go to some small school where it's not a lot of information, no, don't pay for that. If you're in LA or or you're in, and then also don't take out a lot of debt. Make sure you got something that if it's not worth it, it depends on your situation, right? So I didn't go through school with a lot of debt. I was able to graduate close to debt free. Uh, because I was a foster kid. And I made sure that like I wasn't hit with those. I had scholarships, and I made sure that I got my grant money and like the things that I was on their head. Like I was really pressing. And one thing I learned as a kid growing up in a group home was always advocate for yourself, speak up for yourself.
Right.
No
Right.
one else will. So that was me in the first year. Like, yo, I could be homeless. I can't deal with these loans. I can't. So they took them off. And that's why I was kind of like it made more sense to stay at USC. But like for music industry, school wise, yeah, it depends on what you want to do, and depends on how much it costs. You could learn a lot on YouTube, but also it's just about knowing what books they read. So if
Right.
you're able to find out like what books the courses have, or talk to students from those schools and be like, yo, what books are you guys on? Or even look at the courses online. Go to that college's bookstore, and then like find books that even the college students aren't reading because they're not assigned for that class. That'll put you ahead. There's little hacks you can do for sure. Stuff that I realized, oh wow, I could have just done this all throughout high school and be
Right.
coming up here and learning and got super jacked with knowledge. But you learn as you go. Everything was it hindsight is 2020.
Right.
Yeah, so, YE hindsight is 2020. Feel me? You get a look back. Sometimes you're like, damn, man, could have bought Bitcoin.
That's right. Listen, we appreciate those
I
tips.
shouldn't have sold my Bitcoin. That's the
right.
worst. I shouldn't have sold my Bitcoin.
That's right. Definitely appreciate those tips. Let
Definitely.
everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Okay, definitely. And thanks again for having me on the show. I love this. You guys are in Jersey?
I'm in New Jersey.
Miami, baby.
You're in Miami. Nice. So on the East Coast. So I got to come out to both those locations. Jersey, shout out to Jersey. I feel like a lot of people be listening to my music from Jersey. I've seen some support. So if you're from Jersey, you probably might like the music. So yeah, and Miami, I actually used to live out there in Dayland, Florida. But I used to go to,
nice.
I used to go to Miami as a kid. I got some photos and whatnot, but I'll give you all the socials. So it's Soundsbyeye on all handles, and soundsbyeye.com. And if you want to get some apparel and merchandise, it's icanapparel.com, EYECAN apparel.com. And yeah, that's pretty much me. Or think21st.com for graphics.
Nice.
Well, listen, we definitely appreciate you being on the show, man, and we definitely got love for you, man. If you need anything else, just let us know.
Let us know, but we family now.
Absolutely.
Family,
yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah, let me know too, man. And if you all ever come out to LA, we definitely link up, we can do something.
Definitely on good.
Much love, brother.
Appreciate you.
I know some good spots, like grab a good cool drink or something like that.
Cool. Nice. Definitely all good.
Well, definitely.
Thanks, brother.
All right, man.
With you. All right, peace.
Peace. Man.
Another great show. We told you.
Great show, man.
From foster homes to entrepreneurs, sitting here talking about stock tips and business portfolios.
Everything, man.
Crazy.
It's good to see somebody think longevity, not just I want it now, not in the now theory.
Right.
I'm glad to see somebody as young thinking that way.
Absolutely. Well, listen, y'all have a great weekend, man. Fraze, you have a great weekend. We got another banger coming up on Monday. So check us out Monday.
Most definitely.
Hey, this is George.
Hey, this is Fraze.
And that was Real Talk with George and Frazier. Peace.
Peace.